Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do complete end-to-end Win32 application deployment in Microsoft Intune, exactly the way it is done in real enterprise environment. We will use Notepad++ as an example. We'll package it as Win32 app, upload it to Microsoft Intune, configure detection rule, and assign it. Also, I will show you where things usually break and how to avoid those mistakes. Let's start. The topics that we'll be covering is Intune Win32 application deployment outcome and complete end-to-end workflow. All the prerequisite and readiness that are required before we go ahead and create the package. We'll cover packaging with Intune, Win32 content prep tool, how to create the Win32 application in Intune. Also, we will cover deployment strategy for the assignment, whether to users or devices, any dependency that needs to be installed with the application, or supersedence where it needs to remove any older version of the application. We'll cover troubleshooting and logs in case the application is failing, and also what all logs that we need to refer, the best practices and operation guardrails that we need to follow during the whole process. Before we go ahead with packaging and deployment for Win32 app, let's understand the difference between LOB or line of business application versus Win32 app. So LOB is useful if you have single application installer like MSI, MSIX or Apex package. But if you have like two applications that you want to bundle as one single installer, then you cannot use LOB. You'll have to use Win32 application. With Win32, you can manage the dependencies as well as supersedence, but with LOB, you cannot manage that. And also with Win32 application, it comes with different feature like where you can manage the robust detection method, where you can create a PowerShell script for detection method, whereas that is not possible with LOB application. So Win32 application deployment methodology is the industry standard for complex application delivery. So this is the complete what's good like application deployment lifecycle. So it has the packaging, then configuration, then assignment to the users or devices, and also how that you need to configure a detection method and the complete deployment. So this is how we need to do the complete application packaging deployment lifecycle. Once you have completed this video, you will be able to build a reliable Intune WinTech package which can be deployed to production devices. You'll be able to configure requirement and detection method correctly. You'll be able to choose the right deployment and assignment strategy for your organization. In case of any failure, you will be able to find out all the logs and the troubleshooting method needs to be done. So before we start, we need to understand what are the prerequisites that are required for a successful Win32 application packaging deployment. So the first one is the tenant or admin readiness. You should have access to Microsoft Intune, and also you need to have an access as an Intune administrator. Also, in terms of devices, the devices where you will apply this application must be on Windows 10 or 1607 greater than that version, and it should be enrolled and managed by Intune. And the application size should be less than 30 GB. Or for validation checklist, before we start the packaging, we need to have the install, uninstall command along with the detection method. We also need to decide whether we want to deploy this application as a user or system context. And also we need to understand like if this application requires reboot or if we need to suppress that reboot. So all of these we need to do before we create the package. So the next slide talks about creating the Intune Win32 package using Intune Win App.exe. So before we move there, we need to first find out the installation command, installation command, and also the detection method. So for that, I have my this device where I have already downloaded the Notepad++ installer, and here is my Notepad where I will be covering the installation, and detection method. So We can get this the installation command or silent installation command, I would say. You can just go ahead to the internet and search with Notepad silent installation command, and we can see like slash s is the silent installation parameter for Notepad++, which we can utilize. So let's open. So now let's open command prompt as an administrator. Change the directory so that we can run the silent installation parameter and see if it works. We'll use slash s. The installation is happening. We'll see if Notepad++ got installed. Yeah. And if I refresh, here is Notepad++ installation done. Now we also need to find out the detection method. So in this case, I will use registry as a detection method. So we need to go to HKLM software, then Microsoft, Windows, current version, and uninstall. So this is the place where all of the applications which are installed will show you for 64-bit application. So we want to capture the display name and specific version as a detection method so we have more control. So here we just need to do control plus F, say notepad, find next. So here is that registry that we will use as detection method. So just right click on the key name and say copy key name and come to your notepad for detection method. So this will be your registry and the value that we will be using is display version. So copy this display version is equal to 8.9.1, and for the installation command we will copy this as our silent installation parameter or command. Now we need to find out the installation command. So here in the same registry, you would find a installation string as well. So here, this is a quite uninstall string that we need to double click and copy the installation command. Let's write down. Now we can test this and see if the installation works silently. I'll just come over here, verify and add remove program. Notepad++ is installed. So our validation checklist is completed with the installation, and detection method. Now we are ready to convert this package into Intune Win32 format. So let's check. So I'll open Win32 Content Prep tool. So this you can get it from Microsoft. So this tool is basically used to wrap the installer or the EXE that you have into encrypted compressed .intune win file for upload process. So Intune, you cannot directly upload the EXE or MSI as Win32 application. You'll have to convert it to .intune win using this Window Content Prep tool. So this is the command that we need to use. I'll show you. So Intune with app util.exe, then -c, then you'll have source folder -s, your setup file that will be used for installation, -o, that will be your output folder where you'll have .IntuneWin file. Coming back to my virtual machine, I'll go and search with Intune Win app util download. You will go to the first link from the GitHub. You will click on this Win app util.exe. Click on download. This will download the file. So here we have, and also just to keep everything clear, we should create one source folder where you'll have your installation, and you'll have one other folder created where the output or .IntuneWin file will be stored for that specific application. So you can follow something like this, like underscore source and this underscore output. Now let me run this exe as an administrator. Here you can specify the source folder. So the source folder is this. I'll just right click, paste. Set of file name is notepad++exe. I'll right click, paste. The output folder where you will have IntuneWin file. I'll copy this and I'll paste. We'll select no to create a catalog folder and hit enter. And here you can see that we have got .IntuneWin file, which is ready to upload into Microsoft Intune. As now we are ready to upload the file to the Intune. So this is how the upload process will look like. We'll go to application, Windows, click on add, and there we'll have to select Win32 application. We need to specify the installation command that we got and also the installation command and installation behavior, like whether it will be system or user, that also we need to specify. Restart, whether we want to restart or not. And also you should have the meta description like app name, who is the publisher, version. I'll go to Microsoft. Now let's go to Microsoft Intune portal, click on apps, go to Windows, click on create. We need to select Win32 application, click on select, browse the Intune Win file. So here, this is a place where we have the Intune Win file from the output folder. Click open, click on OK. So all of these information will be fetched from the IntuneWin file. You can change it pad ++ underscore the version 8.9.1 underscore 64-bit. You can give the same description. Publisher is Notepad ++ team, and app version is 8.9.1. You can click on logo. I have already downloaded that logo. So this will be a good end user experience. Click on next. Here we need to specify the installation command line. So installation command line would be that we have already taken. So this will be our installation command line. I'll paste it. Installation command line. We'll keep 60 minutes as a time that is required for completing this installation. So this is the maximum time. Whether you want to allow end user to install this application from company portal, you can click on yes. Installation behavior is the behavior in which the application will install. If you select system, it will install in system context, and every user who logins to that computer, the application will be available. But if you click on user, so only the application will be installed for that specific user. So in this case, we will select system. And for the restart behavior, whether you want this application to restart or if you want that this needs to be managed based upon the written code. So we'll keep it as default. These are the by default exit code. So if your application gets 0 as a written code or Intune get 0 as a written code from your script, it will consider that as a success, and respectively for other codes as well. I will click on next. This is a requirement section where we need to specify any requirements that needs to be checked before the installation begins. So let's understand the difference between requirement and detection method. So requirement basically decide eligibility for your devices, and detection device the install state. So let's say you want to have install this application on 32-bit operating system, so you can specify that 32-bit as a requirement. Or if you want to install this application only on Windows 11 devices with specific OS version, that also you can specify. You can also check disk space, RAM, or CPU speeds before this application can even be triggered. If you specify OS architecture as 64-bit, and if you deploy this application on 32-bit operating system device, it will say this application is not eligible. And for detection method is basically it decides the install state, where we specify which application file, registry, or product code will be created once the application is installed successfully. So we can set PowerShell as also detection method, registry, file or folder, and in case of MSI it can be product code. So now here you can specify the system architecture. If I select yes, then you can select whether 64-bit operating system or 32-bit or ARM64, but I will say let it install on any operating system. The minimum operating system that I will select as Windows 10 1607. And here you can specify the other parameters like disk space, RAM, or memory that is required. Here you can also specify a more granular requirement where you can have PowerShell script which will check your written code, and based upon that it will decide the eligibility. Click OK. I'll select next. Here in the detection method, I will select manually configure detection rule. So this will have three options: file, registry, and MSI. And if I click on use a custom, so here you can specify a custom PowerShell script that you can browse, which will check your written code. Written code 0 would be for successful, and the non-zero will be considered as non-successful. So I'll go to manually configure. I will use registry as a detection method. Here in the key path, I will use this registry as a detection method. This will be my key path. The value name would be display version. Version comparison I will select because we are specifically checking the version. Operator, always this is the best practice if you select greater than or equal to, because if any device which is having higher version and if you deploy the same application, it will not fail and it will show successful. So I'll select the version 8.9.1 and we'll hit OK. Click on next. Now in the dependency tab, we will have an option if you want to have any prerequisite application to be installed before your main application installation should begin. So you can select that as a dependency. So right now I don't need to install anything. So I'll just click on cross, click on next. Supersedence, this is also similar, where before your main application installation begin and you want that the older version of application should be installed, so you can go click on add and it will allow you to select the application. So this helps for any applications where the main installer or vendor installer is not auto upgrading the application when installed. Click on next. So this section talks about the assignments, like how the application will be deployed to the end users. In this, we have two options like required, available, and uninstall. Required is like if you want to push automatically, then you will select required. And for available, you want your users to install the application manually from company portal, then you will use available. And uninstall is for removing the application from the user group or devices. I always start with available to a test group, and once it is validated, we can just move to the required for production rollout. Never deploy directly to all users without validation. In this assignment, you have an option where you can include exclude groups, and you can also select notification and deadline if you have any deadline by which the application should get installed. And you can also have an option where for delivery optimization, in which the content will download in the background. So I will test with an available deployment. So I'll click on add a group. I have a test group that I already created. So this is my group. I will click on select. Here, if you want to show all notification where user at the bottom right will get the notification from company portal, you can click on show all notification. If you want to hide all the notification, you can click on hide. And if you want only for not computer restart, then you can click second option. So I want to show all the notification, and this application should be available as soon as I publish. If you want to deploy or publish this to a specific time, you can also select that from here. I will select as soon as possible. Okay, I will click on next. So this will show you the complete overview of the application that you have created. You can verify if there are any changes that you need to do. You can go ahead and modify that. I will click on create, and this will start creating the application. Now my application is created, and now it is uploading the Intune Win file to the Azure Blob storage. Now I will open company portal on the device to see if the application is showing up. It will sign in. We'll go to the applications. Right now it is not visible. So right click and click on sync this device so that it will get a new policy from the Intune. Now here you can see the Notepad++ is showing in company portal. Click on it, and this will give you all the information like the version, when it was published, and if who is the publisher. Click on install. Here it is installing the application. This will take some time for download and install. Now the application is installed successfully. You will get a system tray notification, as well as over here it is installed. We can verify the same from add remove program. Now, for any reason, if your application installation is failing, you can troubleshoot that using the IME execution log, and also you can refer the execution exit code. You can verify the detection method, also the requirement, whether the requirements you have specified correctly, and you can fix it, republish it. These are the some common failures, like the command line is not silent, or you have used wrong switches, detection is wrong, dependency logic is not aligned, and requirement is too strict. So I'll go to the device and show you which all log that we need to refer. You can go to this path. This is the path: C program data, Microsoft Intune management extension, logs, and here you can refer app workload.log file. Come to the bottom. You can use log viewers. So right now I'll just search with Notepad, and I'll click up arrow. So here you can see it is trying to checking the detection method. Press down, down, registry path again checking. It is collecting some information. Content it is trying to download. It is downloading the application. Still downloading. Checking the detection method. It is checking the behavior with the silent parameter. So it got the registry value, and then it got the new policies. So yeah, this is how you can just check for the logs, and this is a log file that you need to use for your troubleshooting. These are the some best practices that you need to follow in terms of packaging in standard. One application, use one source folder, one output folder. Always test the installation and installation before you create the IntuneWin package, and also get the detection method. Always use standard for performing the detection. For MSI, you can use product code along with the version, and for EXEs, you can use registry with version greater than or equal to, so that if any device has higher version, that will also not fall. Deployment: never deploy all the application to all the devices at once. First test it to a pilot group, and then schedule the deployment to all the devices. And you should have all the documentation for that application, so in case if you want to refer back and see what was done, you have the documentation, detection, and rollback, and you can just monitor the application in the Intune portal. So this is all. Thank you.